Welcome back to the Delaware Way. We continue our conversation now with Mike Quaranta, president of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. I mentioned this survey, which is done by Thumbtack, which is an online place for small business owners and entrepreneurs to go to, and they survey business owners every year. And in the past, just last year, they gave Delaware an A+. It was ranked second in the country for creating a good environment for small businesses. It dropped all the way to 27th in 1 year and got a B-, mostly because it got an F in training and networking. Can you explain what that they might be talking about?
You know, I've not seen that, Larry, but I'm going to say this. I mean, I've seen a lot of other surveys that are reputable that suggest, frankly, just the opposite. So I'm not going to suggest for a minute that the survey wasn't done correctly, but moving from a A to an F in 12 months suggests makes me a little suspicious. But be that as it may, the Chamber hosts a lot of different networking events, and I know there's training opportunities going on all over the state, either with different chambers of commerce, with, I mentioned Deltech earlier, Deltech of course, but with Wilmington University and a lot of our technical high schools. I'd have to delve into the data a bit more because I'd like to understand a little bit what's behind that.
The article I read also mentioned a CNBC survey that also dropped Delaware in its survey for small business friendliness. So, and I know you're fairly new at the job, but can you defend Delaware against the dropping in the ranking?
Yeah, I mean, to the extent that I've been out in all three counties. I try to hit every county, if not every month, definitely, every week. I hit it every other week. And the businesses that I go to, there's incredibly great things going on in the small and medium-sized space. And so, I get the impression that they regularly need to find a ready workforce, and that's why we're doing things like Principal for a Day, where we're putting business leaders in our different schools to try to make sure that they're creating the kinds of people who are ready to work right when they graduate, or if they go on to a certificate program or to a college or university, they're prepared to meet the needs of the workforce. A lot of those folks are hired by small and medium-sized businesses. If you look at our unemployment rate in the state, it's really quite low. It's at near historic lows. So if you want a job, you can probably find one. In fact, there's a lot of sectors where there's an absence of qualified employees. In the tech sector, for example, Larry, there's such an absence of qualified employees that the companies are constantly kind of stealing from one workforce, one employer to another, because they just don't have enough folks to choose from that are coming up through the pipeline. So the pipelines are great opportunities for our young people.
I noticed when I asked you about companies that the state might be willing to come here, you didn't mention any names. And it was probably for good reason that you don't mention names.
Correct.
Is there something in the offing, something that's going to be happening over the next couple of months that we can talk about when it comes to either businesses coming to Delaware or an announcement?
You're trying to get me.
Well, that's my job.
That's right. I would say this: there are a lot of great conversations going on, and there's a lot of wonderful opportunities that are out there. And I know that Kurt Foreman and his team and others are aggressively out there having those conversations.
You're smiling, though. There's something. I'm going to try to read something into your smile. Does that mean that there is a big announcement coming?
I'm just a friendly guy.
That's what it is. I understand. There was always this great hope. Every time I talk about business in Delaware to someone, there's always this great hope that there's going to be a high-tech small business that's going to be incubated here, that's going to take off. And I know there's been some signs in Wilmington at the incubating centers that they have here, and some signs down at the University of Delaware. Is there some exciting company right now that is worth talking about?
Sure. I think one good example is Carver Ties. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but a really good Delaware State Chamber member, and a business that started with a couple guys coming out of the University of Delaware who had an idea, saw an opportunity, looked at some technological advances in how to put advertising onto your own personal vehicle. Really great concept. They've had tens of thousands of people sign up all over the country, and they get paid to have their car outfitted for some period of time with whatever business is trying to advance themselves or create name ID for a product or service. And they can be very specific because they know where you drive and what your driving habits are. Really great and very innovative idea. They just hired their 16th employee.
Wow, that is great. That's wonderful. So they're really, this isn't just a rumor. There is a high-tech industry booming, and
it works. It does work.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Mike Quaranta, President of the Delaware State Chamber of Commerce. When we come back, trying to get more trails and paths and bikeways in Delaware, the hope is that the entire state could be connected. You could start in one end and make it all the way to the end. We'll tell you how that mission is going when the Delaware Way continues.